Hey everyone, it's Michael Goosebumps fan. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Goosebumps TV episode from the 1990s show of The Ghost Next Door, which is Season 4, Episodes 3 and 4. Of course, the first episode premiered on September 28th of 1998. The second episode premiered the next day, September 29th of 1998, and I would have been about 4 years old when this came out, so more than likely I wasn't watching the show at that time, because I was sheltered, and yeah, because I was a scared kid even though I grew up on horror. That stuff was still something my parents kept from me and whatnot. The Ghost Next Door is a book I recently reviewed, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I think most people know that book because of the twist ending at the end of it. I don't want to spoil anything for you, so don't worry about any spoilers for the episode or for the book or anything like that. But this is a straight-up adaptation of that particular novel. There's a lot of stuff, because it's a two-parter, by the way. I was a little surprised, like I said, there's a two-parter for this episode, and I didn't expect it. I expected a single standalone story that would have been very rushed for an episode, and it wasn't. I was kind of surprised by that. And this is also directed by the guy who did the Strained Peas episode from Season 3, and, what other episode did he do? There was another episode he did, too, that I know, that I've talked about here on the channel as well. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The directing was actually very good here. It felt like a bigger budget episode, even though there wasn't a whole lot of special effects or anything really to it. There was some problems with a lot of the production part of this episode, mostly in post-production, which I'll talk about that in a little bit if I remember to. But The Ghost Next Door is basically about a girl who wakes up after a dream about her house burning down, and she wakes up one night, and her whole house is empty. Her parents are gone, or her twin brothers are gone. She doesn't really understand where, I guess they're not her twins, but she has two younger brothers that are twins, and they're all gone. She can't really figure out why they left her at home alone, but she starts looking outside, and she sees like this creepy black shadow figure walking across the street from her house, and then something comes in through her window, like a rock or a brick or something. I think it was a rock. Gets thrown through her window, and she kind of tries to call 911. The phone is disconnecting, so she tries to take off and run out the door and go out into the street, you know, where she saw the shadow figure right across the street. Does it anyway. She comes across a little boy named Danny, who was a new kid in the neighborhood who recently moved in, but for some reason she didn't see him move into the new neighborhood, nor did she see his family move into the neighborhood. And Danny is a little weird. He's a little kind of sweet, kind of funny, kind of charming. I really like the kid who played Danny. I thought he was very good, just for props' sake. I thought I'd mention that. And the girl playing the main character, Hannah, is very good too. And this story is mostly focused around their friendship in both the first part and the second part of this two-parter episode. The thing is like the second part of the two-parter is a lot of add-on stuff that's not in the book. There's a lot of things that happen there that weren't in the book. Most of what you need to know happens by the end of this first episode, so I was a little surprised by that. I really enjoyed this adaptation. I thought it was very faithful to the book for the most part. I thought even the little stuff that was added in was very suitable. You know, I thought it worked very well. Now, the episode itself, the making of the episode, wasn't perfect. There's a lot of things here that I really love, I mean genuinely love about it. This is a great example of a Goosebumps episode that does not have an immediate huge budget like Night of the Living Dummy 3, which is my favorite episode, or even like the Monster Blood two-parter, mainly the second part, more Monster Blood. It doesn't have a massive budget for this episode, much less this whole show is a series from Canada. The thing with this particular episode is that it utilizes directing skills and cinematography and everything else mostly very well until we go outside. When we go outside, what they did was do a day shoot, and then in post-production, after the episode is done filming, they modified the color scheme to look like nighttime. So there's shadows everywhere, all the time. Doesn't matter what time somebody's outside, there's shadows everywhere. It's not just a basic lighting. Some of the time, that post-production change-up day for night shooting looks pretty convincing. But people like myself who have a lot of experience with filmmaking and just an understanding of a lot of film stuff, because I took film studies in high school and all that, and I love movies, I'm a big fan of movies and TV, so when I see something like that, it's very obvious to me. I don't know how many people would pick up on that, the day for night shooting and post-conversion, post-production conversion, whatever you want to call it. It's very obvious though, and it's very awful looking a lot of the time, because you can just tell that they'll even keep the camera away from the sky. Like they'll aim it down like towards like the field and the street and stuff to make sure that you can't see the sky, where it's clearly like a nice cloudless sunny day. You know, it's very odd. But it is cheaper to shoot that way than to shoot at night and have to have a certain lighting and a certain guy who can light things a certain way. So it makes sense for the budget of this show. It's just kind of disappointing in that respect, because the biggest thing about Ghost Next Door is that it has a lot of nighttime, shadowy type of elements to this story. Shadow is a big, big thing about this story, whether it be the book, whether it be the TV episode. There's a big focus on shadow and how shadow works, because again, the villain is like a shadow figure. Kind of like the sleep paralysis thing people talk about. And it's creepy at times. I'm going to be honest with you. There are some moments in this episode that I thought were genuinely kind of spooky and would have scared me when I was a kid. One of my favorite funny, weird, kind of suiting things that I love about this episode was that the shadow figure has a guy doing the voice for him. And the guy sounds like Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original Star Wars trilogy from the 80s and 70s. And I love it. I think it fits so well, and it adds this kind of an atmosphere to his voice. If you could do that, it works. It really, really works for me, especially the design of this shadow figure. He has it's just like a black shadow figure with an overcoat on that has like the little, the collar and everything is sticking out, so you can tell. It's kind of like those old 1990s signs we used to see everywhere in my neighborhood. They'd be like, you know, the neighborhood watch type thing would be like, don't talk to strangers, and like the stranger would be like a guy with like a weird looking hat on and the collar popped up and everything else so you couldn't see his identity. He kind of looks like that here. But there are some spooky things. I think if I had seen this episode when I was a kid, when I was very young, when I was exposed to things like Haunted Mask and Haunted Mask 2 and Welcome to Dead House, Not a Living Dummy 3, Bride of a Living Dummy, if I had been exposed to this alongside with those, this would have probably scared me when I was a kid. Now as an adult, it's kind of cheesy. This episode is very, very, very much in admiration of the cheesiness and the funniness of what Goosebumps can be, especially as a TV show with a low budget. And I think it revels in that. I think it actually does a very good job with that. I enjoy it immensely. I think this is one of the better Goosebumps episodes, surprisingly. I didn't go into this expecting that at all, but when I saw it was a two-parter, I knew there'd be a little bit more of a kind of an importance on making that episode for the show as a crew, you know, and hoping to make a good episode. I was hoping that they would do something special since it was a two-parter, and they did. They did something very nice. I really enjoyed this. If you love the book, I think you'll love this a lot. And of course, Ghost Next Door also has a part in the first Goosebumps movie from 2015. There's kind of a character in there that's kind of inspired by the main character, Hannah, here. And I really appreciated that. I thought it was very cool here to see this for the first time. It was a very interesting adaptation. I like it a lot. The house that the main girl, Hannah, is hanging out inside of reminds me a lot of that house that Drew Barrymore is in Scream. It really does. It's very, very white, you know, like the walls are white, the stairwell's wooden and stuff like that. It's very cool looking. It just reminded me a lot of Scream, the way it's filmed and the phone stuff with the 911 call. There was a scene in this show, this particular two-parter, that involves a basement cellar. And it's scary, man. That part really got to me a lot. That would have frightened me when I was a kid. The way it's shot, the way the shadow figure moves there, I like that. It's kind of a blur effect, you know, as he walks around places. I like that a lot. I thought it worked, again, very suitable for this episode. The music was very good. It wasn't like custom music or anything for the episode, but it was, from what I could tell, very solid. I enjoyed it a lot. It was your typical Goosebumps piano music. I like that. I thought it worked very well. What else am I forgetting? I like the actors. I thought everybody did pretty good, especially the mom of Danny. I thought she was very good, too, for what she had to do. There was an interesting thing they did with Danny's character, or his mom's character there, that was also in the book. I won't spoil it for you in case you haven't read the book, but there's an interesting thing that involves, you know, Danny's mom's character, and I like the actress they picked to play her. I thought she did very well. But overall, Ghost Next Door, I really like it a lot. I recommend it a lot. I think that it's one of those stories that are kind of timeless when it comes to Goosebumps. It's one of the ones that I never grew up with, but I saw it when Cartoon Network first bought out the rights for Goosebumps and started showing the old 90s show on their channel in like 2007 or 9 or 10, somewhere in there. That's when Goosebumps had a big revival there for a little while, and kids were all into this. People were loving Goosebumps at that time. I'm really thankful for that, too, because it was great. It was really exciting to be able to watch a lot of those episodes I hadn't seen before at that time. I was born in '94, so by the time I was able to really comprehend what was happening in Goosebumps and stuff, I was more involved in the 2003 to 5 to 6 era for that particular show. To see a lot of the episodes finally come to TV again on Cartoon Network was really cool, and Ghost Next Door was one of those. I believe I watched this at that time. I believe. I haven't seen it in many, many, many years, like 10 years, but I'm pretty confident I saw it for the first time on Cartoon Network, I think. But I would like to get a copy of this. I thought Ghost Next Door was pretty good. I'd like to get a DVD copy, but I still, like I said in my previous video a while back, I'm still pissed that America does not have a TV box set for the TV show of Goosebumps. If we finally get it, I'll be thankful, because I can have really good gems like this that I don't have to buy a random, just standalone DVD and have that. I want this, because this is very good. This is one of the better episodes of Goosebumps, in my opinion. It would be hard for me to kind of rank the TV episodes and not put this up there pretty high. I mean, this is very well done. I wouldn't say it's as special or amazing as something like Camp Nightmare, but it's pretty good for what it is. And I think the ending would always throw people off, no matter if you're an adult or a kid. I think the ending would be very, very effective, even though the big plot twist is kind of revealed at the end of the first episode, more so than the second episode. But yeah, I liked all of it. I liked the Obi-Wan Kenobi, Alec Guinness shadow figure. I thought all of it was pretty cool. If I had to rate this particular episode, or these two episodes as a two-parter whole, I'd probably give Ghost Next Door probably a high 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it a lot. I thought it was a very solid episode. I was kind of leaning at first about making it a 5 out of 5, just because this is something that people would say, I think, that this is kind of one of the better quality episodes when it comes to filmmaking and everything else. Just the night to day, or day to night shooting thing bothers me. I don't like that. I think it really takes me out of stuff when I see movies and TV shows do that. So on a personal level, it bothers me. For most people, it probably wouldn't matter to you. You probably didn't even notice it if you aren't into filmmaking and whatnot, or if you're a younger viewer. But still, for me, I have to hold that against it because it's lazy. I know it's cheap, but it's lazy for this cheap show to do that. But still, I like a lot of the stuff that happened in this episode. I love a lot of the things this episode had to do, as an adaptation otherwise. What do you think about Ghost Next Door? Do you love this? Do you hate it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on the comments section about what you think about this, what you think about the book. Be careful and kind of wary about posting spoilers. I don't want too many people to come to this review and see spoilers down there for something like this, because Ghost Next Door, kind of the big punch in the gut for this story, whether it be the book or the episode, or even the Goosebumps movie, is the big twist at the end of it. So be a little careful about how you word things, or at least label them as spoilers if you're going to talk about spoilers. I think that helps everybody a little bit. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below. Thank you for watching, guys. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and goodbye.